fact, according to a single moderator on VX.net, whose stellar record of activity and doing her supposed job has been solely defending her home base of RM Webs, where she spends the majority of her time being not even a part of the staff.
Unused tool.
Which would have been fine if not for the contradiction. She's a moderator here on VX.net who has now made it her job to misinformedly attack individuals who previously held no vendetta against her in blind justice because of the words of an artist who was only an object of attack because of one of the CCC's members. A member who doesn't even have any responsibilities in the company so far, and who later PM'd the exact same artist apologizing for having the sheer guile to provide feedback on her pricing. Justice League, go! She blindly attacked Bizarre Monkey, who is an alleged terrorist by virtue of illegally distributing overpriced resources to some friends. Shock horror. With not only evidence someone had been desperate enough to see the CCC rot that they obtained their very Skype chat logs, which you only had to look into briefly to see that the Bizarre Monkey's interests were only temporary, and has said time and time again that the artist in question does not possess enough reprehensible qualities to make him a target of attack, nor has he done anything provocative to any of the CCC members.
Justice prevails!
Well, sure thing, Indra. You sure read those well.
She did!
And even more hilarious was her war with the head of the CCC, in which it was made evidently clear that her purpose all along was to demonize someone who forgot 6 months ago that she even exists.
Fuck's given!
No! She just wants to be remembered. Just perhaps it's got nothing at all to do with defending an artist who probably has forgotten all about the two members of the CCC she met. The one of Indra's focus not even being remotely interested in Hiri's destruction. Level up. It's more likely Indra has decided to use Hira's case as a moral scapegoat to excuse her needless attack of Bizarre Monkey, a man who has no real interest on acting on an impulse given by one of his members to attack an undeserving member of a forum he has lost all interest in. So no. It's more that Indra believes that because said monkey robbed an entirely different artist of $100 over 2 years ago, and has the guile to speak against her social group,
Very grudge!
that can entirely justify near destroying a forum she once and still is supposed to work for. Most credible moderator of our time.
Hail Satan!
In fact, so credible that any other site she frequents has either taken her off the staff or never given her staff privileges of any sort in the first place. Wonder why? Maybe perhaps because she recklessly rushes into hot-headed clashes without doing any research, despite being provided logs that contradict half of the statements she's made, in an attempt to squander the hopes of an indie company who stopped caring about the matter 2 weeks prior to the attack. Only 2 weeks of late fees. And with groundbreaking rebuttals such as this one. You probably want to look at the logs to prepare some more bullshit lies. Yes, you found me out. I want to subvert the transcription of ironclad Skype chat logs that you bullshitted your way into retrieving. And what about this one? Find something healthier to occupy your time with. This is pathetic.
So busted!
Spoken ironically by a woman whose only recent activity as a moderator was 6 months ago, and who is going out of her way to assail someone who released an award-winning game only recently on how to manage his time.
Super sellout!
Take an example of intelligent life on Venus. She then replied to my response with, masterful use of vocabulary, sure.
Transparent
I am
cop
sorry
out.
that I use my free time to accrue formidable vocabulary and become an award-winning developer in lieu of whatever it is you do on the sites you frequent. I preserve order.
Cool story.
What you're actually doing is backseat modding on a site that in all likelihood deliberately avoided giving you any form of power to avoid events like this one from happening in the first place.
High score.
In her endless show of tactical cunning, she threatened the head of the CCC, a man who was responsible for keeping VX.net active and doing countless community services for the forum she only regards when someone does something against her precious RM webs.
Evil monkey.
By publicly exposing logs that she didn't even read more than 18 sentences of.
Hail Hitler.
An act that would have put her in more shit had she posted it, and likely would have got her demoted on VX.net as well.
Too bad it doesn't work against a man who has put 2 years of work into sustaining a farm she visits once in a blue moon.
A man who is such a terrorist that he openly welcomes every new member that arrives at the site with open arms, and offers several deserving or undeserving people well-written and logical reviews for games they have made after playing them. Yes, Bizarre Monkey is the next Osama bin Laden.
True story.
And according to the logs you pulled from a chat that changes its mind frantically from second to second, is going to crash a cybernetic plane into RM webs.
That's never been attempted before.
Maybe because no one gives enough of a damn about you or your impeccable social hub that they feel that cybernetically nuking it into oblivion is worth the effort.
Burn the heretic!
Congratulations, you aren't special, just desperately wanting to feel important. To the point that several members, bearing no hand in planning the attack nor any interest in it outside the spectacle it might be, who work under the CCC are now part of a quote, conspiracy, and have denied people from third world countries who make resources for a living in a harsh, overpopulated environment from gaining income.
True saints.
To quote a man of impeccable wisdom, your classified thread was closed due to your involvement in a conspiracy to attack the site. We have decided that anybody who would take part in causing such disruption should not be allowed to profit financially from the same site they are trying to harm.
Judgment final.
Thank you kindly for giving yourself even more of a hilarious public record by calling an attack one of your members instigated in the first place a conspiracy to attack you, the place we never cared about.
No fucks given.
Well, you sure talk shit about us enough.
Because it's fine when you do it.
It's also nice of you to opt out of answering while you called it a conspiracy when it was a simple spark by one man barely old enough to buy a gun in the States that caused a woman to get so much itchy sand in her vagina that it forced her to try and demonize a band of indie developers who you refer to as pathetic to justify robbing at least 2 people who weren't even involved in any of it of a sustainable source of income.
The Empire strikes back.
You're right. We are definitely monsters who should be doing something more constructive with our lives.